AJ, Anthony Joshua.
Wow. 199.4. Woo! Like that? Who do you think you are? I am!
Ability. You did say something, and I'm paraphrasing here, so please correct me if I'm misinterpreting it. You said if I could kill him, I'll kill him.
Yeah.
Your old foe, Tyson Fury, today called you a classless loser for saying something like that you shouldn't say that as a boxer. Could you explain to us what you meant by that? And could you please respond to Tyson's statement?
It's my job. We fight. We're licensed to kill. I'm sure many people don't understand it, but this is what my job is. And I just enjoy what I do. Whatever happens, happens. As long as my hand's raised, that's what's important, right? Respectfully. That's just the mentality we have to have as fighters. I don't know if any other fighter thinks that way. Maybe they're a bit more tamed. But the things I watch and the way my mind works, when you're in that ring, it's a dangerous place to be and anything can happen. And you hope your opponent leaves the ring safely, but if they don't, you know, you still have to go to bed at night knowing that you just done your job. It wasn't personal.
The final press conference felt like two completely different forces sharing the same platform. And that contrast is exactly what gave it life. It opened in a relaxed, almost playful way, creating an atmosphere that leaned more toward
Jake Paul's fearlessness creates a challenge for you.
Yeah, definitely. Jake Paul creates a great challenge for me. And he's got a great mindset for sure. Great family, great brother. Challenge for me. But as I said earlier, competition is really good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
AJ, you called this the ultimate barbershop fight, the ultimate plane fight. Everyone's talking about it. I love that description. I'm wondering, when you were in Valencia training, maybe back home a little bit here in Miami, are a lot of people coming up to you and saying, can you please knock this guy out? That seems to be the sentiment. Are they coming up to you and saying that?
Nah. They're respectful. People are respectful.
They are?
They're like
I saw in the video there were people there outside the press conference saying, end this man, end this man.
Yeah, you do hear it, but remember, we don't focus on the negative.
No, that's just a sentiment that I feel like people are saying to you.
They're just saying, good luck, do your best. You know, that's a great fight. I heard people say like, I'm not really into boxing, but I'm watching this fight. But no one's really coming up to me saying anything about Jake or they want me to knock him out. Just positive vibes.
Okay. Entertainment. Then open confrontation. Jake joked about AJ listening to something better than me, while Joshua brushed it aside with his trademark calm. That quiet smile that never gives much away. Yet even in that light exchange, the competitive tension.
On a show for the fans. Let's go to war. Men have done crazier things throughout human history. This is the modern day gladiator sport. This is what we're here to do, is f each other up, and I'm ready. I want his hardest punches. I want there to be no excuses when it's all said and done, and let's f each other.
Was obvious, like a low hum underneath the laughter waiting to rise. That tone shifted when Jake suddenly changed gears, dropping the first real psychological jab by calling this the potential biggest defeat of Anthony Joshua's career. He talked about timing, nerves, and tactics as if he already had Joshua fully decoded. Joshua didn't rush his reply. He paused, then delivered the coldest message of the night.
Focus on more positive.
Exactly. That's why I'm not going to ask you about that. But Jake, do you view
push your confidence.
Absolutely. Do you view it this way? Do you view it as old guard versus new guard, that he's representing boxing and he's been tasked with ending the Jake Paul experience, and it's up to you to keep it going?
Not really, no. I mean, I think no one's done more for the sport of boxing in the past decade than myself. So I think if people really cared about boxing, they'd want me to win. But I see where the angle that they're coming from is that he's, you know, the traditional boxer, has been doing it his whole life, etc. But I think that I'm more important for the sport of boxing. And so if they actually cared about the sport, they would want me to win.
Calmly stating that fighters are licensed to finish opponents, and that this is simply his profession. Jake tried to answer that calm with chaos, leaning hard into the modern gladiator persona, shouting about war, legacy, and putting everything on the line. But the contrast only made Joshua appear even more composed. When AJ said he was carrying boxing on his shoulders, that he'd been called in to shut down Jake Paul's show for the purist, It didn't feel like hype. It felt like a man accepting a task. Jake pushed back by claiming he's done more for boxing than anyone in the last decade.
I was then called in to fight on Garnu, and I knew there was a lot riding on it. And with this one, in terms of putting boxing on my back, it just seems like I'm being called into the pugilists, the purists of boxing and so on. People don't like the fact that I'm fighting Jake. Whether that concerns me or not is another question, but if we look at the people that don't want me to be here, but they want me to, I understand it, and that's why I have to carry boxing on my...
Snapping at critics and fully embracing the disruptor role fueled by doubt, Joshua framed the moment like Jordan versus Iverson, tradition versus rebellion. Even when asked about the possibility of losing, he joked his way through it, smiling as if the pressure barely existed. By the end, it didn't feel like trash talk anymore. It felt like belief colliding with experience, noise crashing into silence.
You got the call saying, okay, now he wants to fight you.
Oh, I just thought brilliant opportunity, man, you know, because I understand what his audience, what it does for boxing as a whole, and the ripple effect it has on the industry that I'm in. Because when Jake moves aside, boxing still benefits. I'm a pure boxer, so boxing still benefits. I just thought, what a great opportunity to perform in America just before Christmas. We had been training. Everything was stacked up for it to happen. I think it's a great date to happen on the 19th of December.
And to realities aligning for a moment where only one can survive when the bell finally rings. That's where the energy subtly shifts. Because once the press conference noise fades, the chest beating, destiny talk, and underdog mythology, the conversation moves to Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua. And it suddenly feels like the grown-ups enter the room. The voices are lower, the tone steadier, yet the confidence somehow becomes stronger. AJ sounds like a man no longer chasing moments. He's stacking leverage. No offense taken. No ego bruised. No bitterness toward YouTubers, just clarity. He sees Jake Paul as momentum, audience, opportunity.
It's a nasty game. You don't want to do it. You go to the gym to keep fit. As Eddie said, you can see this guy's got a bit of talent. Hey, get some gloves on. Next minute, hey, what do you want to do, some sparring? Next minute, next minute he's fighting Tank. Next minute he's fighting Anthony Joshua. Boxing is just like it's a snowball effect. It just keeps rolling and getting bigger and bigger and bigger until you meet someone or you hit a wall and it all just goes.
And eventually a wall you hit when the run goes long enough. Eddie Hearn practically narrates the blueprint. Like this entire fight is a strange chapter nobody predicted. Yet everyone is still signing off on it without hesitation. AJ keeps repeating the same principle: if you can end it early, you do it. Not for highlights, not for sympathy, but because boxing isn't football. You don't owe anyone 90 minutes. And the Usyk camp detail, that's the moment Jake Paul. Fans should pause. When a heavyweight willingly throws himself into the toughest training environment available, not out of necessity, but desire that's not...
Usyk, it made you say, I want to quit these guys.
Sergey invited me and said, you're more than welcome to come and do some training. At first, our schedules didn't align. And then our schedules aligned and I have a decision. It's been an eye-opener. People could ask me in the future, what message could you give young kids out there? I say, work harder. If you think you're working hard, do more. And if you think you're doing enough, do more. Dude, that's the only way you're going to. His free time, well, let's say, I don't think he's been beaten as an amateur either. Anyway, He's an Olympic gold medalist, free time, unified champion. Man, like, surround yourself with winners, it's basic. And then it's been a really good experience.
A man chasing hype. That's a man sharpening his weapon. Jake's motivation is easy to read: money, exposure, disruption, keeping the machine rolling. Joshua's motivation is more unsettling: growth, discipline, and a quiet belief that once you strip away the Netflix glow, the influencer branding, and the circus atmosphere, what remains is a boxer who's been here before standing across from one who hasn't. That's why this feels inevitable. Not because Jake lacks belief, he believes fiercely, but because belief eventually collides.
For me, it's just really how far can I push it? How much more can I improve as an athlete? And what I'm doing now, I'm pushing myself more. I think I'm definitely improving. Whatever comes up, that is a bigness. So what motivates me now is the hunger to compete and the hunger to improve. And I actually like, even though it's hard, as I said, 2 weeks in, I was like, what am I doing here? I kind of like the athlete lifestyle. It gives me purpose, because when I first went to the gym, I never went to kind of be a champion. I like the fitness. I like kind of looking after myself.